Hey, you don't do that.
Don't you touch me. I don't care. Listen, white man, don't you touch me. Don't you touch me, white man. Listen. No, don't that white man touch me. White man better not touch me. Let's move south.
In the summer of 2023, Love and Hip Hop Atlanta star Jocelyn Hernandez was arrested following an altercation at an exhibition fight between Floyd Mayweather and John Gotti III at a venue in South Florida. 36-year-old Hernandez, known as the Puerto Rican Princess, drew a crowd when she attacked fellow reality TV personality Big Lex, aged 26. They had previously worked together on the Zeus Network series Jocelyn's Cabaret and were believed to have been involved in a long-standing feud. Hernandez was seen pulling on Lex's hair and punching her repeatedly until the latter's dress came off, exposing her breasts. Hernandez then put her rival in a headlock which she held tight until they were briefly separated by security. Hernandez then charged Lex again, took her to the ground and continued attacking her. The enraged reality star was also seen throwing punches at other people at the scene, although it wasn't made immediately clear if they were Lex's associates. When Sunrise police officers arrived at the venue, Hernandez persisted in her aggressive behavior. She told the police, "I don't want any white men touching me," and moments later attempted to hit a man at the scene with her phone. As officers tried to calm Hernandez down, she started shoving them, which resulted in the police taking the reality star down and handcuffing her. The incident was captured on witness cell phone cameras and the officers' body cameras and later shared by TMZ. Hernandez resisted and refused to walk, which resulted in the cops hoisting her in the air as they took her to the parking lot. Throughout the incident, Hernandez continued yelling out a racist, homophobic, and profanity-laced tirade at the arresting officers. She was initially charged with battery, trespassing, and resisting an officer with violence. Updates from August of 2023 indicated that she'd also been charged with 2 felony counts of battery on a law enforcement officer. Shortly after the incident, while out on bail, Hernandez capitalized on the arrest by releasing a music video for her song, Let's Get Right. In the clip, she recreated and spoofed her jailhouse circumstances, as well as the moment when officers carried her away from the venue. Number 6. Hailey Poulos. On April the 29th of 2023, General Hospital star Hailey Poulos was arrested in Pasadena, California, following a head-on collision on a freeway. As reported by the California Highway Patrol, the 24-year-old was traveling west at 60 miles per hour when she lost control of her vehicle, crossed the divider, and drove into oncoming traffic. She then crashed her 2019 Ford into an eastbound vehicle. The second driver was subsequently hospitalized with severe injuries and later stated an intention of suing Poulos. The actress, who'd been playing Molly Lansing Davis on the ABC soap opera since 2009, emerged from the crash relatively unscathed. Firefighters extracted her from the wrecked vehicle and helped her to an ambulance. As reported by the LA Times, Poulos struck one of her rescuers as they were assessing her injuries, telling them that her shirt was worth $400. Responding officers noted that Poulos smelled of alcohol and her speech was slurred. The police also found that she had mini tequila bottles and cannabis edibles in her vehicle. The soap opera star was taken to a local hospital where she had to be sedated after she'd started attacking healthcare workers. In June of 2023, Poulos was charged with 1 felony count of driving under the influence of an alcoholic beverage causing injury and 1 felony count of driving with a 0.08% blood alcohol content causing injury, in addition to a misdemeanor count of hit and run driving resulting in property damage. In the incident's aftermath, ABC temporarily recast her character. Number 5. Kaz Crossley. 27-year-old British reality star Kaz Crossley was arrested at an airport in Abu Dhabi in February of 2023 while transferring on a flight to Thailand. The 2018 Love Island finalist's passport had raised a red flag. Charges had been pending against her following a video from 2020 which had been circulating online. It had been taken at the height of the coronavirus pandemic, when numerous influencers had traveled to the United Arab Emirates for work or recreational purposes. The clip showed Crossley snorting a white powder off a counter First-time drug offenders in Dubai faced a minimum of 3 months in prison and a maximum fine of around $27,000 at the time of her airport arrest. After she was detained for a few days, Crossy was allowed to return to the UK. Speaking on her recent arrest and the incident which had sparked it, the reality star admitted she'd made mistakes and told a media outlet, "It was a time in my life where I definitely didn't love myself at all." Number 4. Freddie Bentley. In late March of 2022, Freddie Bentley, a runner-up on the social media-themed reality show The Circle, was arrested at a pub in Essex. The 24-year-old later claimed that a group of men had shouted insulting remarks towards him, some of which were aimed at his sexuality. While he was in the establishment, Bentley was accused of throwing a drink at the group, pushing one of the men and later scratching a bouncer who was escorting him out of the pub. When the police arrived at the scene, they arrested the reality star on suspicion of 3 counts of common assault and criminal damage. Bentley subsequently accepted a community resolution for the latter charge, and the police determined that he wouldn't face action for the other offenses. Number 3. Jordan Finlayson. In the summer of 2019, Jordan Finlayson, a Penthouse model and former Beauty and the Geek runner-up, was taken into custody alongside her boyfriend as part of a drug bust in Waterloo, Sydney. The operation had been led by Strike Force Petal, established in late 2018 with the aim of investigating the circulation of illegal drugs in the Redfern area. 28-year-old Finlayson and her boyfriend, Martin Rosa, were charged with 15 offenses in relation to the distribution of illicit drugs, including supplying prohibited drugs in a commercial quantity. The police found heroin, methamphetamine, and gamma-butyriolactone in their possession. At the time of her arrest, Finlayson admitted to having a drug addiction that cost her $5,000 per week and saw her take substances such as cocaine, heroin, Xanax, marijuana, and GBL. In April of 2020, the model, who'd also worked as a cheerleader for various basketball teams, was sentenced to 2 years and 3 months in jail for the drug charges. She was granted parole in September of 2021 after serving 15 months. Finlayson pledged to turn her life around but would face further legal troubles while on a conditional release. Between January the 29th and February the 2nd of 2022, she was accused of stealing credit card information from 3 men. The victims were attending a private pool party in Botany, Sydney, where Finlayson was working as a waitress. The men had left their possessions in the front room, and the reality star took photos of their credit cards and driver licenses. While using the front room to get changed, she passed the information along to a different party and wasn't determined to have actively defrauded the men or benefited from the information theft. Finlayson pleaded guilty but avoided further jail time and was given a 12-month community order. By August of 2023, Finlayson had been arrested several more times, with one incident involving her throwing a glass at her brother-in-law and another crashing her Toyota Yaris while under the influence of GHB and methamphetamine. The woman subsequently admitted to relapsing, and the legal proceedings on the latter incident were set for October of 2023. Today's topic was requested by Nikki123BXD. If you have any other topics you'd like to learn about, subscribe and let us know in the comments section below. Number 2. Grant Robichaux. Reality TV doctor Grant Robichaux, who'd appeared on the Bravo TV show Online Dating Rituals of the American Male, was arrested alongside his girlfriend, Sarisa Riley, for drugging and abusing multiple women at Robichaux's home in Newport Beach, California. The couple would allegedly prey on women they met at luxury restaurants and bars. The earliest reported incident had occurred in October of 2016 when a woman, identified in court records as Jane Doe 1, met the couple at Baja Sharkies. She claimed that she and her roommate had blanked out after Robichaux and Riley had bought them drinks. The victim then awoke in a state of undress next to her topless roommate in Robichaux's home. Upon her asking the reality star what had happened, he was reported to have replied, "You wanted this. You wanted to come back here." A fight ensued, and the victim's screams were heard by neighbors who called 911. A second woman testified in court that she'd met Robichaux through a dating app, and that she was surprised when Riley arrived as well to their date at Nobu Newport Beach on Easter weekend 2017. The victim, only named as Jane Doe 2, took cocaine offered to her by Robichaud and also had a drink in which he'd poured an unknown substance. She woke up to the couple touching her in their bedroom. The victim locked herself in the bathroom while crying, and Riley pleaded with her to unlock the door, claiming that Robichaud would hurt them if she didn't oblige, before allegedly telling her, "He makes me do this." The police searched the doctor's home in January of 2018. They found 2 illegal, unregistered assault rifles, 4 other firearms, and several large-capacity magazines, in addition to copious amounts of illegal drugs. They included the predatory drug GHB, cocaine, and MDMA. The search also produced a plethora of videos showing other potential victims. They were described as barely responsive to the couple's advances and beyond the ability to consent or resist. The case became a political linchpin between District Attorney Tony Rackauckus, who unsealed it in 2018, and his successor, District Attorney Todd Spitzer, who controversially moved to have it dismissed. Robichaud and Riley denied the abuse charges, claiming that they were partial to the swinger lifestyle and that their actions had been consensual and not predatory. As of July 23, the abuse charges had been dismissed by Orange County Superior Court Judge Michael Leveson, who found the evidence to be insufficient. The couple nevertheless still faced the charges of drug and gun possession and poisoning. We have our previous release about when fame goes wrong lined up for you after number 1, if you'd like to watch that one too. Number 1. Jackson Mahomes. 22-year-old social media star Jackson Mahomes, brother of Kansas City Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes, was arrested in the spring of 2023 on 4 counts of battery. The charges originated from an incident that had occurred on February the 25th at the Aspen's Restaurant and Lounge in Johnson County, Kansas. Court documents indicated that the influencer had shoved an employee multiple times and that he'd forcibly kissed the restaurant's owner. He assaulted the woman by putting his tongue in her mouth, grabbing her by the throat and leaving marks on her neck. Mahomes' actions were witnessed by multiple people and captured on surveillance cameras. He was arrested nearly 3 months after the incident and held on a $100,000 bond. As of the latest updates, Mahomes was scheduled for a preliminary hearing in late August of 2023. If he were to be found guilty on one of the battery charges, the young man would have to register as an offender and automatically be on a registry for 25 years. Number 4. Keira Knightley. In December of 2016, Mark Revell was issued a restraining order that prohibited him from making any form of contact with actress Keira Knightley. The 50-year-old had reportedly been stalking the English celebrity, bombarding her and her husband with cat-themed postcards and even making cat-like sounds through the letterbox at their London residence. The harassment ultimately led to Revell being given an 8-week suspended jail sentence. After only a few weeks, it emerged that the suspect had violated the terms of his restraining order by posting a series of threats against Knightley on Twitter and sending her an explicit photograph. The actress reportedly began to fear for her and her family's safety, and she was prompted to upgrade her home security measures after Revell referred to himself as a public executioner on social media. He was later tracked down by the authorities and taken into police custody. During a hearing at Blackfriars Crown Court, Revell reportedly confessed to violating his restraining order. He was ordered to remain in a psychiatric hospital indefinitely following a diagnosis of paranoid schizophrenia. Number 3. Suzanne Tamim. On July the 28th of 2008, Lebanese singer Suzanne Tamim was found dead in a Dubai hotel. According to her death certificate, the 30-year-old woman's throat was slit, although earlier reports indicated that she'd been fully decapitated. In September of that same year, authorities in Cairo arrested business tycoon Hisham Talat Mustafa. He reportedly sat on the Policies Committee of Egypt's National Democratic Party and was a senior associate of former President Hosni Mubarak's son. Investigators gathered that Mustafa had been involved in a romantic relationship with Tamim, which had reportedly begun after she'd requested his help in divorcing her husband, kickboxing champion Riyad Al-Azawi. After the singer turned down a marriage proposal from Mustafa, the businessman allegedly hired a former Egyptian police officer named Mohsen Al-Sukari to kill the woman at one of the hotels he owned in Dubai. Al-Sukari was reportedly paid $2 million to carry out the execution. Both Mustafa and his hitman were tried for Tamim's murder and were initially sentenced to death by hanging. Judges ordered the case be given a retrial in 2010, and Mustafa was then sentenced to just 15 years in prison, while al-Sakari was sent away for a term of 25 years. The two men were reportedly released from prison after being pardoned by Egyptian President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi. Number 2. Sandra Bullock. At around 6:30 a.m. on June the 8th of 2014, actress Sandra Bullock was awakened by a series of loud banging noises. Believing the sounds to be coming from the third-floor gym of her Los Angeles mansion, she opened the door to her bedroom, at which point she reportedly saw an intruder dressed in dark clothing walking towards the stairs. Bullock immediately shut the door, locked it, and contacted the police. When officers arrived at the scene, they apprehended the home invader. He was identified as Joshua James Corbett, who maintained that he'd been trying to tell Bullock that her security system was faulty. Subsequent reports indicated that 39-year-old Corbett had been stalking the famous actress for some time before he ultimately broke into her residence. Upon searching the man's home, investigators reportedly discovered a collection of illegal weapons, including a machine gun. They also found a 2-page letter that Corbett had written to Bullock in which he referred to himself as her husband and the father of her son. It was concluded that Corbett had climbed over the security gate in front of Bullock's home and forced open a locked glass door on the morning of the home invasion. Corbett pleaded no contest to felony charges of stalking and burglary, and he was consequently sentenced to mental health treatment and probation. Number 1. Jam Master Jay. On October the 30th of 2002, Jason William Mizell, better known by his stage name as Jam Master Jay, was gunned down at his recording studio in Queens, New York City. A founding member of the influential hip-hop group Run DMC, Mizell was subsequently buried at Ferncliff Cemetery and Mausoleum in Hartsdale. Investigators believe the murder to have been precipitated by a drug deal gone wrong, but Mizell's killer would remain at large for roughly 18 years. A local gangster named Kenneth McGriff was alleged to have been involved in the shooting, but he was never officially charged in connection to the case. In August of 2020, federal officials announced that they had indicted 2 suspects for Mizell's murder. It was determined that Ronald Washington and Carl Jordan Jr. had entered Mizell's studio on the evening of his death in search of roughly 20 pounds of illegal substances that they planned to distribute in Maryland. The shooting reportedly occurred following a heated argument between the 3 men. At the time of the federal indictments, Washington was already in prison. Jordan had been charged with attempted murder in 2003 after he'd shot Mizell's nephew in the leg, and he was arrested by New York Police Department officers on August the 16th of 2020. Thanks for watching. Would you trade a year of your life for instantly getting 10 million followers on a social media account of your choosing? Let us know in the comments section below.